Hi, I'm Dr. Bertice Berry, and I want to tell you a story. My mom has been deceased for some time now, and yet a few days ago, I picked up my phone to call her. Now, she lived with me, so if I was ever calling her, it meant that I was traveling, but I was at home. And I would always call her whenever something interesting or fascinating or whatever was happening. And Mom, and it was that feeling, that joyful thing of, I've got some good news for you, happened in that moment. I haven't had that feeling in some time. One of the things that amazed me the most when I started the group Stories to Tell with Dr. Bertice Berry, which exists on Facebook, was people began to share stories of their loved ones who were gone. They were sharing their own stories. It's one of the rules of the group. You can only tell your stories because that's the only perspective you have. You were thinking, no, you can't tell me what I'm thinking. Anyway, so people in the group began to tell their stories, but their relationships to their loved ones who've gone. The other thing that happens is people tell me how wonderful it is to know my mother, and that sometimes now they're having conversations with my mother. We're coming up on All Saints Day, All Souls Day, Hallows Eve, Halloween, Hallows Eve is the eve of All Saints Day. In fact, I think it was Reverend Kelly Steele who told me recently that she'd read that Halloween people dressed as ghosts and goblins to make fun of them, to taunt them, that it is not a satanic holiday. In fact, we know it's a Christian holiday, but that this idea that they were taunting them because their loved ones they got to visit with and they didn't want to have to deal with these other entities. My mother had been gone only a few months, and I wanted to see her and talk to her and be with her. I missed her dearly. And so I did this thing that I now do. I put on Columbo, and I said, well, we'll watch it together. It was her birthday. And I fell asleep, as I always do when I'm watching Columbo, because I know every episode. And I felt a distinct impression of someone getting up off my bed, which I had felt many times. She would sit on my bed. This person was getting up, or the feeling was someone getting up. And by the time I opened my eyes, she was gone. And I began to weep loudly. Mom, I miss you so much. And I could hear, how can you miss me when, lo, I'll be with you always? And I was like, no, Mom, that was Jesus. And she said, Jesus came to show the way. I'm now in the way. I knew that wasn't me. I'm not that deep. I am just not that deep. But this idea that my DNA is connected to another DNA, all the way back. And they knew things, and they had answers, and they had truths that we can tap in. And all we have to do is remember. I love you.